Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon and my first ever second edition of a storage solution. So I had initially discovered some perfect size bit boxes that allowed you to separate the monster tokens into a few different piles and then store them in there and keep the included insert. Well, after actually getting into the game and playing it more and more, and I realized that it just wasn't meeting my needs. I was still having to, shuffle through piles of the monster stat cards and could never remember how to get everything in there perfectly. It was very fiddly, and it just wasn't working for me. So I have gone ahead and chucked the included insert for Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion and come up with my Jaws of the Lion storage solution 2.0. So let's take a look here. One little caveat, there's a little bit of a lid lift, mainly due to the fact that the spiral bound books that are necessary for the game, they're the scenario books and the supplemental scenario books, just don't quite fit in there nicely. But I have everything in there. Some of you may feel fine with, say getting rid of this sheet and maybe even the Learn to Play guide if you have somewhere to put them. Once you play through them, you really only need the glossary, the sticker sheet, and then the two spiral bound books. That would save you a little bit of effort, but basically everything's up there on the side. I've kind of tried to stack the spiral bound books so they're off to the side, but you can see there's a decent amount of room in here, even enough so that I have room for some extra dice. So I use those for my monster health tracking. I rarely ever get these tokens out here, but let's just go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. So everything in here is what comes in the game, but when I'm done with this video, I'll be taking, for example, these out. I don't use these. I have some aftermarket player mats that I track my health and XP on, so I'll just find some place to stick these. That creates a nice area for me to put this set of dice, and I even have a set of D6s that I plan on keeping in there. But if this is what you use, they easily fit in there. So those are sitting on top. Now, if you went out and followed my instructions for the one item you need to store Jaws of the Lion, don't worry. We're still making use of those. You can see a good number of them right here. Not all of them, but I've added a few things. So all of the character tuck boxes are right here. For right now, we're just keeping my brother-in-law, so I'm playing a 2-player campaign, just keep our stuff, we just keep putting it back in here. It can be a little fiddly getting everything back in the box each time, so I'm trying to figure out if there is something I could find right here, and if I do find that, I'll let you guys know. In Gloomhaven, I had 4x6 photo boxes that kept all of our stuff. It was even big enough to keep the miniature in. It was perfect. I would just pull that out and hand it to my brother-in-law, and we would get started. For right now, we're keeping all our stuff in here, and then our miniatures are back in here. So let's take a look at this thing here. This is essentially a one of the small Plano Box. This one is equivalent to the Plano 3400. I will put a link to the description below for this one. This one was purchased at Michael's, but they're almost identical in size and shape. But let me just show you what we have got in here. There's 6 wells. So I've got all the damage, even though I don't ever use damage. Coins, stat tokens. When we start to play, we just kind of usually pull a big pile of these out and set it off to the side. These are all the destruction tokens. And then your standees for elite and normal monsters. And then these tokens, which we never use. I don't even know what these little nameplates are for. But I have them there just in case I ever do need them. So that sits on top of what you're going to notice, if you are familiar with my original Gloomhaven storage solution, is another set of mini pizza boxes. We'll get to those here in a second. So here are 4 of these little tuck boxes that I used in my original Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion storage solution. And these are perfect for holding these small size cards, right, which is most of the cards in the game. And you can see the divider still fits in there. So you can set these down on the table and easily just reach into the divider and say, all right, these are my available items here that I want and leave the divider in there. You look at these, you purchase, and then you put them back on top. If you need to unlock new items, you of course pull the whole thing out. So I've got those in there. I also have the same thing for the quest cards, you know, the individual battle quest cards. Just pull those out. I also have the monster attack modifier deck, and then you can see on the underside is the curses and blessings. So I usually just open this up, pull out the monster modifier, and set it off to the side in case I need to grab a curse and a blessing. And then last but not least, I have a few other tokens which were kind of a mishmash and a hodgepodge. I thought about removing the health track tokens because I never use them from this, but this was just easier to pull out. I know I'm going to be getting stuff out of this tray every single game when I'm setting up, and this is usually what populates the map. So your trap tokens, your ooze tokens, your objective tokens, or your treasure chests, and your elemental tokens. So I really don't have a problem with having to pull out, you know, this along with these other things. They work really well, especially for the cards. It helps keep the cards organized, everything like that. So again, links in the descriptions below for all this stuff, but if you went out and bought the one item I said you needed, you can still reuse them. It's the same exact bit boxes. All right, for my city events, I have them right here, just in a baggie, and the baggie is big enough that I can just pull out just the ones that we want and then slide in the encounter ones over here. It's kind of obnoxious to think about the fact that out of this entire game, the only thing that are full-size cards, I guess technically the player cards are full-size cards, but they could have like squeezed these onto, maybe not, I don't know. But like if you have, for example, the foreteller narration, you don't even need these. All right. Okay, so these are all the 4 character boxes, pretty self-explanatory. These are all of the miniature boxes, pretty self-explanatory. And then last but not least, similar to what we did for Gloomhaven, and I haven't had time to borrow the label maker to label these, but that definitely helps out. But basically, you know, just I divided these up in the setup that I feel like makes sense. So this is all like the zealots and the living corpses and the living spirits. You can see all their standees are in one box, all of their action cards are in one box, and then their monster cards are all here in the box. So once I've gotten these labeled, it's going to be really handy to just be like, oh, I need zealots and living corpses in this scenario. I'm going to pull out this box. I leave the rest in there. And everything then is right there. I'm not having to reach into multiple sources to find what I need just for the monsters. It makes setup and cleanup so much easier. So these are, I call them mini pizza boxes. They're really designed to hold like a cookie. If you're like a craft baker and you make like artisan cookies or something like that, you may put the cookie in a box with slap your label on the top or something like that. So if you're searching around at like a Michael's or something like that, look in those aisles. Or if you're searching on Amazon and you don't like the link I gave you, then you know that's kind of what you're looking for. You could try a mini pizza box or try like craft cookie box or something like that, but that's essentially what they are. I'll give you the size and shape in the description below to make sure that they're big enough to hold the monster card. But that's it. So I'm going to show you how this all goes back in again here. So the 4 pizza boxes, and they're just perfect that they fit 2 side by side. You can see there's no box stretching or anything like that. I know some people are very concerned about that. And these tipped on their sides are just the same height as the miniature boxes, which is almost the same height as these. So at this point, we're creating a pretty level plane here. All right, let's go ahead and stick this on top, which gives, you know, some room for instruction manuals. And then usually what I do here is this, and then I put my dice that I use to track like this. And here is my other set of dice that goes like that. Now, you could replace those dice with these. I'm just putting this game back the way makes sense for me. So then I've got my instruction manuals. You could, you know, try and offset them a little bit, which helps them just lay a little bit flatter. I like keeping everything together if I can. So I am just going to stack everything up. So you can see at this point, there's a little bit of, you know, they don't quite lay super flat, but at the end of the day, nothing's going to get damaged. It just means that the lid doesn't close completely. It's not so bad that if you were to accidentally bump this thing, the lid's going to come off. You can see that it's like not even half an inch there. And I think maybe even when I got this out of the cellophane, it had lid lift on it too. So, but that is it. That is my Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion Storage Solution 2.0. Which I think actually I did do a 2.0 for the original Gloomhaven. So this is my second iteration, all for Gloomhaven. But if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And again, check out the links below. I'm not affiliated with anybody, so don't feel like you need to use those links. I'm just trying to give you guys a helpful point in the right direction for getting this stuff yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.